There was a time I reached out to a known celebrity, well known, like thinking like, okay, if you're in this space, then and you're who your character is presented as, then this would be a good person to connect with potentially. Like my ideas and my desires for a future of business and just lifestyle and all these things would be lining up with what they have going on. So this would be a good person to reach out to. And a lot of the backlash I got initially was like, who is this person? Understandable. But it turned from being like, who's this random person reaching out, to like, this person is trying to infiltrate this space of being a groupie or being like a super fan or whatever, or even just being like wanting to be, romantic, that I can infiltrate that space to lie about who I am, like expose people's, and specifically the celebrities, sexual preferences, because I can't be a woman. I'm not a bad bee, so I gotta be something else. And I was confused once I realized that was what was going on, because I just had a kid. I might not look great, I can understand why you would think like, who is this person? No, go sit down. No, go sit down. And I just thought to myself, that's silly. That's really ridiculous. Like, just logically speaking, it just is ridiculous to accuse me of not being a woman, knowing that I just had a kid. And I thought it was common knowledge, that when you have a kid, you don't look like you did before you had the kid, especially in like the first year. And if you do, good for you, but I didn't. And so I kind of took that as like, okay, that's an outward opinion of how I look, and I can accept that. But I thought it was so ridiculous to be accused of lying about my sex and my gender. That I just ran with it. Like, this is how people that don't have the gender presenting as society would prefer them to. People that don't have a personal identity that they relate to the sex that they were assigned at birth. There's so many people I've met where I'm just like, that is probably how they get treated all the time. Like, if it turns out that I truly was a liar, truly was a pretender, and really was assigned a different sex at birth, and then presented my gender this way and never spoke on it, or like presented it as if that wasn't the case before, there's two parts to it. One is, I'm not trying to be in a space where that should matter in terms of you being like interested. I understand the conversation, but for that to be the lie, to try to get ahead, it's like, it's just doomed from the start. And so that was ridiculous to me. But I felt like, why clarify that when there are truly people out here that get treated like crap simply because they are what these people are accusing me of being and doing and all this other stuff. There's nothing that me in the same space, the same equation, being, let's just say, different gender, different sex, should change the approach to this conversation. So that's kind of where I was when I decided I'm not going to clarify. And then I felt like I was forced to clarify, which is weird because I am definitely born woman, present woman, embrace my femininity. that took a lot to have a kid. Like it's a whole lifestyle before the kid that, you know, you have to choose to have a kid, right? That I just realized, like, me going on a social media and not declaring my gender is so impactful to this conversation that I'm going to be threatened. My violence against me is going to be threatened in, not, you know, not so much obvious terms, but just in audacity terms, you know, to put me back down to size terms. I felt like it was my duty to not speak on how dare you label me one of those, because I'm this, because I'm whatever the assumption is of like the in the know class of women that get to be around celebrities is a reason for that too. And I'm not in that, but it has to be like this other extreme to the point where it's like, is she a hermaphrodite? She can have a kid, but is she all woman? I got a typo on my birth certificate and people couldn't figure out if I existed before I chose to exist. I created myself, bitch. No. So yeah, I just definitely accepted what that conversation clearly needed to become. It was not my intention to speak to someone and not look presentable, and then it turned into this whole gender spectrum conversation. But come to find out, the reason all this even happened is because the celebrity that I'm engaging with or attempting to engage with has been known in communities and probably in the world to be into those type of things. So it was almost like a shaming me for reaching out and being bold and doing all these things, but it was also a shaming of the person for their interests and their likes and their preferences. And that was a lot of my advocacy, like, drive. Was like, that's on both sides, that's crazy to do and assume and to move. But the more it went and the stronger it got and the more bold people were, it just made me realize, like, two things. People deal with this every fucking day. And then the other part was, wow. So as a woman that just had a kid, outside of whatever society expects women to be as acceptable in that space, it wouldn't have been okay no matter what. And I realized that is a bigger conversation than what my initial, you know, plans were. I wanted a farm. I wanted, don't mind me. There it goes. I wanted to be able to eventually own a grocery store. I wanted to have this, they call it a third space now, I understand, where people, you don't have to be any particular preference of relaxation, but a space where we honor, they call it sacred spaces, to honor the need to relax, the need to calm and to rest, to honor those spaces. And I think it starts with food, it starts with health, it starts with, well, I said this, it includes food, it includes health, it includes community, to really truly rest, to really truly recover, to really truly breathe. And I just felt like I opened a door to more community and needs than I had previously understood, because in real time the feeling was understood. It's like when I gave birth to my child in the middle of the hospital, and like that one moment of just quiet before it goes to chaos, and I'm just like, this is what every woman has experienced in some form or fashion. Everyone that's born has to have they don't even know the level that their mother has gone through to have them exist. They don't know what this feels like. And that was just just relating something that you didn't know was such a universal understanding into that moment. So now I know more. I'm still learning.